you asked me a little bit earlier about the DDP storage. So basically, difference between us and any other one that we are Ethernet-based SAN. Okay, so it means we are using existing infrastructure, Ethernet infrastructure, to connect our storage, and because it's block-based, there's almost no latency. We use almost the maximum performance of the cable. Multiple computers, like a PC, Mac, Linux, can all connect to our storage and read and write at the same time, very fast.
So what is that key line of your product? Like how it makes you different from other products? So being in a competitive market where you can see there are more competitive brands by the right and left side of yours. So what makes your product different from the other brands, and how do you see yourself in the market?
Yeah, this is a very good question actually, because in the storage market in particular, you go to like hundreds of companies. So when you go to the booth of us or any of our competitors, they will say, oh, we are the best. But actually, you got the two types of the storages, right? One are NAS, which are network attached storage, and there's something like a 95% of the company buy that one, and there's a 5% of the company who buy SAN systems. SAN systems are better, but they're more complicated because usually they have two networks. One is Ethernet for metadata, one is a fiber channel. However, the difference between DDP and other SAN or NAS storage is that we are SAN storage because we provide the block level transfer of the data, but we are using one cable. So over the Ethernet, we transfer metadata and data very fast. So we are very simple, and we are not as expensive as, example, typical fiber channel systems, because they require two networks. They're much more complicated to install and set it up. So we are very, very simple to install, same as 95% of the storages. We are SAN storage, okay? So we belong also to this 5% of those fast guys, typical SAN system. We have a project sharing built inside of our system. So that means if you have let's say you work in a collaborative environment, example with the multiple Adobe Premiere systems or Final Cut or Media Composers, we can open the same projects and share the same media at the same time. You don't require third-party servers in order to manage those projects. So we have this benefit. Another benefit is that we can multiply Ethernet cables. So we can pair 2 free cables from one machine, and which I can show in a second, and we can get a double or triple cable speed. So imagine like you go on a motor racing with your car, and I'm 2 times or 3 times faster than you. You're out of the race. So that is what we are. That's what is competition. And in a shared storage environment, speed is everything. But if you're having a fast car and not having brakes, it's not good, right? So we have something we call bandwidth manager. So bandwidth manager manages the speed of your car. So we can limit the bandwidth on a read and write. So example, if I do editing like a 3/4 streams or ProRes, I can limit my copying. If I'm copying at the same time something, right? I can limit my copying to, let's say, 20%, all right? So I can prioritize my editing versus the copying, because if I would not have those kind of tools, and if I start copying something from my Firewire drive or USB drive and edit at the same time, I'm going to drop the frames. Another feature is that we can manage the access rights. So we have permissions like a read write, no delete, no access, Dropbox or write only. So you do not have to use Active or Open Directory in order to manage access rights. So this is also built inside. Another feature is that we have something we called folder volumes, and folder volumes are actually your normal folders but with the volume properties. Okay, that means we can export the folders as real volumes, and we can also manage the quota. So every folder we can resize the size. So we are much more flexible than anyone else. We are not expensive as some other guys. We have more tools. So basically we give it's not like just a storage. We are like a workflow, we are solution, and that's what we do.
So that means to say one thing under many things under one roof. Yeah.
Yes,
exactly. And that means simplicity, accuracy, and speed. These are the management, these are the core lines of your product, that means to say. So how's been your exhibition 2016? Means how is the footfall of the visitors at your stand? Since being introducing a line of new inventions, what is the response of those visitors of your stand? And how are they really appreciating the product, or what sort of response are you getting from them?
Yeah, for the last, I think, like a 4 or 5 years, we've been at Broadcast Asia, and we see we were going something like this, and now this last year we're going like this. So actually all this hard work, what we were doing and investing and our time and the money, it's actually paying off. So actually we had a quite good leads, and I'm really excited about it.
Really satisfied. Okay, so what are your expectations from the upcoming years of Broadcast 2017, 18, 19? Or what more do you expect, and what add-ons do you want from Broadcast India, which can make your business as well as them's more efficient?
Well, as our business is growing now, I also think that knowledge of the people is growing, and that is very important, because we have all this technology, and as you mentioned by yourself, there are like 100 companies who are doing more or less the same thing. So the job of mine and my colleagues who work with the DDP, for example, is that we educate our clients, because if we educate them, not only that we're going to help ourselves, but we're going to also help them because they will know what is the right product. And nowadays, this particular year, I met quite a lot of people who actually were quite knowledgeable and knew the things which we were showing and so on, and knew our competitors, what they can do and so on. So I was quite pleased, actually, comparison to previous years related to the customers we're having here.
So just one question. What about 2017? What are your plans?
Well, I go one step ahead, right? So and also I don't move like a 3-4 steps. I think Broadcast Asia, India is like a next year. For us, next show is next month, which is in Interview. So we are actually, our mind is focused already there, because today is last day of the show. Now we are switching on completely to that show. So after that show, we go for another one.
We wish from Broadcast India, we wish all the very best and all success in your life in this product and in the upcoming years for your product On Air Asia. And thank you so much for spending your precious time with us. Thank you.
It's my pleasure always.